Geralt of Rivia stares at the crumpled piece of parchment in his hand, the contract from the village of White Orchard, promising 50 orens for the removal of the Noon Wraith. He snorts, folding it into his pocket. 50 orens? Barely enough to cover the swallow potion he'll need to survive the fight, let alone Roach's next bag of oats. This is the harsh truth of a Witcher's paycheck. It's never just about killing monsters. It's about weighing risk against reward, begging for fair pay, and scraping by when the scales tip toward survival over profit. The perilous paycheck comes in two flavors: the meager village bounties that feel like insults, and the royal commissions that make the grind worth it. Village contracts are the worst: small, underfunded, and often negotiated by elders who'd rather haggle over coppers than acknowledge the danger. Take the time he hunted a ghoul in the village of Posada from Andrzej Sapkowski's The Last Wish. The elder initially offered 30 orens, sputtering, "It's just a ghoul. Eats the dead, not the living. Hardly a threat." Geralt leaned against his silver sword, crossing his arms. Last week, it dragged a farmer's son from his bed. "You want me to let it take another?" the elder grumbled, but upped the fee to 50 orens, still less than half what a royal contract would pay. Worse, some villages pay in kind instead of coin: a sack of potatoes, a new axe, a night's stay in the blacksmith's barn. Geralt takes it. He has to, but it doesn't fill his coin purse. It just keeps him moving to the next job. Royal commissions though? They're a different beast. When a lord or king has a monster problem, say a griffin nesting in their castle's towers or a vampire preying on their nobles, they pay well. In The Witcher 3, Geralt took a contract from the Tremorian royal court to kill a striga that had cursed a princess. The reward, 500 orens plus free lodging in the castle, a new set of leather armor to replace the one the striga tore, and a supply of potions from the court alchemist. That's the kind of pay that lets him breathe, lets him buy Roach a new saddle, stock up on wolfsbane, and even splurge on a tankard of good mead for once. Another royal job, hunting a wyvern that had been raiding caravans for the Nilfgaardian army, paid 700 orens, enough to cover his expenses for 2 months. But royal contracts come with strings, politics, deadlines, and the risk of angering powerful people if you fail. Geralt once turned down a contract from a Nilfgaardian general who wanted him to kill a Sylvan, a harmless forest spirit, just to send a message to rebels. The pay was 800 orens, but Geralt walked away. "I kill monsters, not pests," he said. Even a witcher has lines, and sometimes those lines cost him coin. When contracts are scarce, Geralt turns to side hustles and scavenging small, often messy ways to pad his purse. Looting abandoned sites is a go-to: old castles, forgotten tombs, bandit camps. He doesn't steal from the living usually, but the dead don't care if he takes a rusted sword or a pouch of coins from the crumbling crypt. In Velen, he raided a bandit camp that had taken over an old mill, walking away with 40 orens, a set of iron gauntlets which he sold to a blacksmith for 25 orens, and a bottle of wine which he drank that night to forget Velen's mud. Abandoned temples are even better. Sometimes he finds rare herbs like feverfew, which sells for 10 orens a sprig, or old jewelry. A chipped ruby once fetched 60 orens in Novigrad. Selling monster parts is another steady side income. Not just the big stuff like fiend hearts or griffin talons, but the small overlooked bits. Wyvern scales make good armor plating, so blacksmiths pay 15 orens each. Banshee hair is used in alchemical bombs, so alchemists shell out 8 orens a strand. Even ghoul teeth have value tavern keepers buying for 2 orens each to hang as trophies for drunk patrons. After killing a pack of drowners in Skellige, Geralt collected their claws, 5 orens each, and sold them to a local merchant, walking away with 35 orens, enough for a hot meal and a night in a dry inn. Once, he sold a manicore stinger to an alchemist in Oxenfurt for 120 orens, more than he'd made from a village ghoul contract. "Monsters are worth more dead than alive," he joked to the alchemist. The man didn't laugh. Then there's Gwent, the card game that's equal parts hobby and hustle. Geralt isn't a professional player, but he's good enough to win a few orens in tavern games. In Novigrad, he once played a merchant who bet 30 orens on a single hand. Geralt won, and the merchant grumbled but paid up. In Toussaint, he played a nobleman who bet a silver ring which Geralt sold for 45 orens instead of coin. Gwent isn't reliable. Some nights he loses, some nights he breaks even, but it's a way to make money without fighting. And on slow days, when there are no monsters to hunt, it's a welcome distraction. "Beat staring at Belen's mud," he says, shuffling his deck. None of this would work, though, without Geralt's negotiation tactics. Sharp, pragmatic, and rooted in his reputation. He doesn't beg for money. He argues for it, using his experience and the threat of the monster itself as leverage. When a village elder offers 50 orens for a Noon Wraith, Geralt lists the risks. "I'll need Swallow 80 orens to heal her attacks, Moondust 40 orens to weaken her, and my silver sword will need repairs afterward, 60 orens. You're asking me to lose money to save your village." More often than not, the elder caves, if only to avoid the shame of letting their people die. His reputation helps too. In big cities like Novigrad or Oxenfurt, where everyone's heard of the White Wolf, clients don't lowball him. A merchant in Novigrad once offered 200 orens for a wraith contract before Geralt even asked. "I know you're the best," the man said. "I don't want to waste your time with small change." But in remote villages where his name means nothing, he has to prove himself. In a tiny hamlet in the Blue Mountains, the elder refused to pay more than 30 orens for a wolf contract until Geralt pulled out a griffin talon from his pack. "This is what I usually hunt," he said. "Your wolves are easy, but easy still costs." The elder upped the fee to 60 orens. Geralt's not greedy. He just wants to be paid fairly for a job that could kill him. He doesn't negotiate for luxury, he negotiates for survival. For Roach's oats, for his next potion, for a roof that doesn't leak. "I don't kill monsters for gold," he says. When someone accuses him of being a mercenary, "I kill them because no one else can. The goal is just to keep doing it." At the end of the day, Geralt's income stream is a patchwork, a village contract here, a monster parts sale there, a Gwent win when he's lucky. It's not glamorous, it's not steady, but it's his. He'll count his orens at night by the light of a campfire and plan for tomorrow. Another hunt, another negotiation, another chance to keep moving. And when he finds a royal contract that pays well, he'll allow himself a small smile. Maybe he'll buy Roach a new blanket. Maybe he'll drink a better bottle of wine. Maybe, for one night, he won't worry about the next coin. That's the life of a witcher, from contracts to coin, one risky job at a time. Geralt of Rivia stands in front of Oxenford's alchemist shop, jaw tight as the man behind the counter slides a vial of wolfsbane across the wood. 100 orens, the alchemist says, not meeting his eyes. Geralt blinks. "Last month, the same vial cost 50. "Why the jump?" he asks. The alchemist shrugs, nodding at Geralt's silver sword. "You're the White Wolf. Witchers like you can afford it. And besides, mixing potions for someone who fights vampires? Risks my neck." Geralt grits his teeth and slaps the coins down. This is the first trap of a witcher's fame. Everyone thinks your reputation pays the bills. But fame doesn't fill your purse, it empties it, one inflated price tag at a time. The cost of reputation isn't just higher prices, it's unpaid favors. Villagers hear Geralt of Rivia, and suddenly, their small problem becomes your responsibility. In a hamlet outside Novigrad, an elder cornered him after he killed a ghoul, pointing to a den of Nekars raiding chicken coops. "You're already here," the elder said, smiling. "Surely you can take care of these little ones for free?" For the village? Geralt knew better than to argue, refuse, and the elder would spread rumors that the White Wolf abandoned poor folk. So he spent 2 hours clearing the Neckar den, using up a moondust bomb 40 orens, and tearing his boot on a root 15 orens to repair. He left with a thank you and a loaf of stale bread. No coin. Fame, he's learned, makes people see you as a tool, not a man who needs to eat. Even merchants who don't inflate prices treat him with wariness, adding hidden costs. A blacksmith in Beauclair once quoted 80 orens to sharpen his steel sword, then charged an extra 20 for handling witcher blades. They're cursed, you know. A stable hand in Skellige charged 10 orens more for Roach's oats, muttering, "Horses that carry witchers get spooked, need better feed to calm them. It's never enough to just pay for the goods." You pay for their fear, their suspicion, their belief that your reputation makes your coin less valuable than theirs. Then there are the legal troubles, the unexpected fines and bribes that sneak up on you mid-hunt. Geralt learned this lesson in Toussaint when he fought a fork-tailed devil that had been stealing sheep. The devil, panicked, crashed through a farmer's barn, flattening the roof and killing 3 cows. The farmer ran up, screaming as Geralt finished the monster. "You owe me 250 orens. For the barn, for the cows, this is my livelihood." Geralt's bounty for the devil was 300 orens. After paying the farmer, he walked away with 50. It's a common trap. Monsters don't care about property lines, and villagers don't care about your heroics. They care about getting paid. Corrupt guards make it worse. In the Temerian borderlands, he was stopped by 2 guards who noticed his silver sword. "No weapons in the market square," one said, hand on his own blade. "Fine 60 orens, or you could make it 20 for a fellow protector of the realm." Geralt knew the game: pay the bribe, or spend an hour arguing, miss his hunt, and lose the bounty. He handed over 20 orens. Another time in Novigrad's Dot District, a guard searched his pack and found a vial of swallow. "Alcohol without a permit," the guard lied. 100 orens, fine. Or 30 to forget this ever happened. Geralt paid. It's not about right or wrong. It's about survival. You don't fight city guards when you have a griffin to hunt and a coin purse that's already light. The worst financial pitfall, though, is healthcare hidden, costly, and devastating to your income. Witchers heal fast, but serious injuries need more than a swallow potion. After a fight with a higher vampire in Skellige, Geralt's arm was torn open, his ribs cracked. The local healer, a elf with knowledge of witcher physiology, said he needed a vampire's bane elixir to prevent infection, plus 2 weeks of rest. The elixir cost 180 orens, made with rare bloodwort and vampire ash, and the healer's fee was 70. That's 250 orens, more than he'd made from his last 2 contracts. Worse was the downtime. For 2 weeks, he couldn't hunt. He couldn't even ride Roach without pain. He spent those weeks in a tiny inn room, paying 12 orens a night, 168 orens total, and buying soup from the innkeeper, 3 orens a bowl, 42 orens total. By the time he healed, he'd spent 460 orens and earned nothing. To make ends meet, he had to take a risky contract hunting a wyvern in the Blue Mountains, one that paid 500 orens but required him to use 3 potions, 120 orens, and repair his armor, 80 orens. He walked away with 300 orens, barely covering his medical bills. Another time, he was hit by a werewolf's claws, leaving a poison in his system that even Swallow couldn't cure. He had to travel to Kaer Morhen to get a wolf's rest decoction, a rare blend made with ancient herbs only found in the keep's gardens. The trek took 3 days. Roach's feed, 12 orens, inn stays, 36 orens, and the decoction required a trip to Oxenfurt to buy a rare mushroom, 60 orens. By the time he recovered, he missed a royal contract that paid 800 orens. The loss stung more than the werewolf's claws. These are the pitfalls no one talks about. Not the glory of killing monsters, but the farmer yelling about his barn. The guard holding out his hand for a bribe. The healer handing you a bill that empties your purse. Geralt doesn't complain, he can't. This is the life he chose. But sometimes when he's sitting by a campfire, counting his orens and realizing he has enough for Roach's oats but not his own dinner, he wonders, is the reputation worth it? Is the job worth the debt? He'll answer himself the next morning when he sees a village terrorized by a wraith and knows no one else will help. He'll grab his swords, buy the overpriced wolf's bane, pay the guard's bribe, and hunt the monster. Because that's what witchers do. They don't just fight monsters, they fight the financial ruin that comes with it. The next time you hear someone calling the famous white wolf, remember, fame doesn't pay for the barn. It doesn't pay for the healer. It doesn't pay for the bribe. All it pays for is the target on his back and the empty coin purse he carries everywhere. Geralt of Rivia sits in a Velan tavern, spinning a single oren between his fingers. The firelight glints off the coin scuff, bent, barely worth the metal it's made of. Outside, a farmer argues with the innkeeper about a sack of potatoes. A merchant counts his gold, smiling. Geralt's purse is light, his armor still caked in mud from the last hunt. He could walk away. He could find a quiet village, lie about his past, and work as a blacksmith or a farmer. But he won't, because being a witcher isn't about the coin. It's about something heavier, something that keeps him reaching for his sword, even when his hands shake from hunger, even when the next contract could kill him. Beyond the coin, there's duty. Not the kind kings demand, but the kind that comes from knowing you're the only one who can do the job. When a village is terrorized by a striga, when a merchant caravan is hunted by a wyvern, when a child is taken by a ghoul, no one else steps up. Knights fear the dark. Farmers fear the unknown. But witchers, they hunt it. In Andrzej Sapkowski's Baptism of Fire, Geralt travels for weeks to help a group of refugees, even though they can't pay him. Why? One refugee asks, confused. You get nothing for this, Geralt shrugs. Someone has to. That's the truth. The coin is a byproduct. Real reward is the quiet relief in a farmer's face when the monster is dead. The way a child stops hiding under their bed at night, it's a purpose no other life can give him. There's also the lack of choice. Witchers are made, not born, their bodies twisted by mutations that give them strength, speed, and resistance to poison, but also make them outsiders. Geralt can't walk into a village and blend in. His cat-like eyes, his scarred hands, his silence, people see a monster, not a man. He can't be a farmer. His mutated muscles would tear through plows. His senses would overwhelm him with the smell of soil and livestock. He can't be a blacksmith. His reflexes are too sharp, his patience too thin for hammering metal all day. The only life that fits is the one with swords and potions, with contracts and coin. We're not free to choose, he once told Yennefer. We're free to survive. Survival, though, means no retirement plan. Witchers don't grow old and settle down. They hunt until their reflexes slow, until their swords feel heavy, until a monster finally gets the better of them. There's no savings account, no pension, no cottage in the woods to retire to. Take Vesemir, the oldest witcher at Kaer Morhen. He hunted well into his hundreds, his hands gnarled but steady because he had no other choice. When Geralt once asked him if he ever thought of stopping, Vesemir laughed. Stop and starve? Or let some young fool get himself killed because he doesn't know how to fight a griffin? The cycle is endless. Hunt to earn coin, spend coin to hunt again. Geralt has never owned more than he can carry on. Roach, no land, no treasures, no possessions that don't fit in his pack. Retirement isn't a dream for witchers. It's a death sentence. Even so, witchers leave an economic legacy that stretches far beyond their own empty coin purses. For all their small numbers, they're lifelines for the communities they pass through. Take a merchant caravan traveling from Novigrad to Toussaint. If a griffin is raiding the roads, trade stops. Merchants can't sell their goods, farmers can't buy tools, innkeepers lose customers. But when Geralt kills the griffin, the roads open again. The caravan moves, coins flow, and the local economy wakes up. In one village in Skellige, Geralt once killed a pack of wolves that had been attacking sheep. Within a month, the village's wool trade had recovered. Farmers sold more wool, the local weaver hired an apprentice, and the tavern added a new ale to its menu, paid for with the weaver's extra coin. Witchers don't just protect lives, they protect livelihoods. They also stimulate local trade, whether they mean to or not. Every time Geralt rides into a village, he needs something. A new whetstone from the blacksmith, a vial of swallow from the alchemist, a bed from the innkeeper. His coin might be scarce, but it's consistent. A blacksmith in Oxenfurt once said, "Witchers keep me in business." Knights buy one sword and use it for years. Witchers need repairs every week. Alchemists rely on witchers to buy their rare potions. Innkeepers rely on them for a steady stream of customers, even if they complain about the mud Geralt tracks in. In small villages, a witcher's arrival can mean the difference between a blacksmith eating that week or going hungry. But the real economic legacy of a witcher is hope. Hope that the roads will stay safe, that monsters won't take your children, that you'll be able to sell your goods and feed your family. It's an intangible thing. You can't count it in orens, but it's the foundation of any thriving economy. When Geralt leaves a village, he doesn't just leave behind a dead monster. He leaves behind a community that believes it can survive. A farmer who plants more crops because he's not afraid of ghouls. A merchant who travels farther because he's not afraid of wyverns. A child who dreams of becoming a merchant instead of hiding from the dark. Geralt finishes his mead, tucks the oren back into his purse, and stands. Outside, Roach nickers softly. There's a new contract in the next village, a noon wraith, 50 orens, barely enough to cover his expenses, but he'll go. Because the coin isn't the point. The duty is, the purpose is, the quiet hope he leaves behind is, that's the economic legacy of a witcher. Not gold, not treasures, but the chance for others to build the lives he can never have. He'll hunt until he dies, his corn purse always light, his hands always scarred. But long after he's gone, the villages he protected will thrive. The caravans he guarded will keep moving. The children he saved will grow up and sell their goods and raise families, and that, Geralt knows, is worth more than any amount of orens.